Hello, welcome to the Personal Transformation Podcast. My name is Dan Storey, author of the Personal Transformation Blueprint, and I want to welcome you to this podcast where we're going to be exploring the ideas about how do we create powerful, unprecedented, lasting change in our lives. You know, many of us wake up in a feeling of frustration and dissatisfaction, and what personal transformation is about is changing that, is changing the experience that we have each and every day. So instead of waking up dissatisfied and frustrated, we wake up full of energy, ready to take on the day, and actually looking forward to the challenges that are coming our way over the next 24 hours. That's what life should be about, right? Life should be about not necessarily every day. We're not, talking about a nirvana situation where everything is super positive and painted pink. No, this is the real world. We're still going to have challenges to deal with. Not everything that we have to do if we want to achieve our goals in a dream life is going to necessarily be something that we super enjoy. But really, we can approach life in a way where we get more out of it than it feels like maybe we are at the moment. Okay, so this idea of personal transformation is how do we go from a feeling of dissatisfaction to a feeling of more satisfaction, of greater levels of happiness and enjoyment and fulfillment in our lives. And if we look at the statistics globally, Gallup do a poll every year and they look at people's happiness, is throughout the world, unhappiness levels are going up, right? Unhappiness levels are going through the roof. As everybody experiences more and more negativity. Yes, over the past few years, we've had a lot of challenges with the pandemic, etc. And that's impacted our relationships. It's impacted our workplaces. It's impacted our health. It's impacted so many different ways. And we need to be in a position where we can take back control and start to make positive changes in our life. Unfortunately, many people are still in a situation where they wait. They wait for somebody else to take control, whether that's the government or big business or whatever it is. We give other people agency rather than saying, okay, well, if there's going to be change that happens, how can I look internally? And that's the framework that is the concept of the Personal Transformation Blueprint, right? That's the book. And so what we're going to do in this episode is I'm going to talk about transformation, but not just as a single transformation. Okay, I'm going to give you the framework that is within the book, because if you really want to create this element of change in your life, it's not just one transformation. You can't just make one little change and suddenly everything is fixed. No, there's actually 3 journeys that you really need to go through, 3 mental transformations that if you go through each of these elements, you'll find that the changes you're seeking are easier. Not necessarily easy, but they're easier, and they're also lasting, because we all know people who've tried to make change but drifted quickly back, right? So many of you, if you're listening to this, you'll have a positive mindset. Maybe you've done goal setting, maybe you've read some of the books, and you think, right, I really want to go for it. And if you've ever tried to change anything significant in your life, maybe you've felt that pull backwards and you have reversed into your old ways. So this is really for anybody who wants to achieve something great in their life and isn't yet. Okay, they realize they're sitting on this potential energy that they want to release, or somebody who's tried it before but not quite made it and really wants to uncover why that has been. Well, we're going to give you some of the secrets in this one. And also those of you who want those results, but you want to find the most effective way of doing it. Well, I'm going to give you the secrets of that as well, but I'm probably going to break your heart a little bit. So we'll get into that in a moment. But let's look at the 3 transformations that you need to go through as and when you want to take on your personal transformation blueprint. As I mentioned, grab the book and go through this as well. But really, there's 3 transformations that you need to go through. The first one is, I call it the expectation transformation. We have to learn to expect more from ourselves, aim a little bit higher, and really try and get more out of life, okay, rather than being satisfied to play at a lower level. Okay, so we're going to talk about that in a moment, raising our expectation. The second one then is, as soon as we set that goal and we put something into the future, there's a gap, right? There's a gap between who we are right now and who we want to be and who we say we're going to be. And for many people, that gap shows up as imposter syndrome or a feeling of fraud and that kind of idea that, oh, it's not me, it's not me. And so we get kind of embarrassed either internally or externally, and then we stop doing the things that we need to do to close that gap. So we're going to talk about that mindset transformation needs to go on. And then the third transformation that we need to think about is work rate, is how hard are we prepared to work? How much are we going to give to achieve this outcome? And many people are looking for the easy path, right? We've become accustomed to having things faster and easier. Amazon Prime drops things off the very next day where we just click and we want it. In fact, some delivery services now are delivering same day. You haven't even got to wait. We don't have to wait to buy things anymore. We can prepay or we can pre-purchase and then pay things off in installments over time, either using a credit card or these new payment methods that are popping up online. We're kind of used to microwave meals, right? That's what we're used to. It's like, if it's not ready in a minute, I don't want it. I'm not prepared to wait. And so we've got to think about how, if we're going to create a scenario or achieve something significant, how do we get out of that mindset of microwave meals? Okay. And how do we create a 5-course, 7-course masterpiece that is worth the wait? So we're going to talk about those 3 transformations: expectation transformation, mindset transformation, and then finally work rate transformation. And all the rest of the podcast episodes will be focused on some of those concepts, and we'll dive into detail in some of those areas as well in future episodes. But let's talk about expectation transformation first. Let's talk about this idea that we wake up in the morning, and how we feel in the morning really reflects our satisfaction with life. If we wake up tired, frustrated, bored, not looking forward to the day, we know that there's probably something that we need to change, right? We can easily change that. We book a holiday. I guarantee you're waking up tomorrow excited, ready to go. You're sitting there waiting for the alarm clock to go so you're not late to miss your flight. Why don't we wake up like that every day? Why can't we have that level of excitement every single day? And so we're jumping out of bed literally at the beginning of the day. And that's not reality. You can't have that every single day, but we should at least have a lot of things to look forward to, rather than just saying, oh, okay, well, this is it, and we settle for something that is less than satisfactory. In the book, I talk about this idea of NPS, right? If you've ever been to a store, they give you this NPS survey, Net Promoter Score, and it's a scale of 1 to 10, really simple. And the idea is that if you score from 0 to 6, you're a detractor. You're talking negatively about the business. If you had an experience of 0 to 6 with the business, you're going to be talking about all the things you don't like. Oh, it's terrible. I didn't like it. They were very good at this. And, any conversation you have about that business afterwards is going to be fairly negatively focused. 0 to 6, right? 7 or 8 then, which you normally say is pretty good. How do you 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, that's pretty good. But actually in NPS, that's a neutral score. It's basically saying you haven't got anything good or bad to say about anything. It's kind of like, well, it's all right. It's only 9 or 10 out of 10 where NPS starts to get interesting, right? They're saying, okay, well, these are the people that we want. These are the positive, engaged people. These are the ones who are really going to be supporting of us. These are going to be the ones that go and advocate for our business. You have a 9 or 10 experience of a business, you're going to be telling everybody how amazing it is, right? You're going to, you got to go there. You got to try this out. It's absolutely incredible. Yeah, these are the positive experiences they're getting. Now, many people, if I ask you how satisfied you were in your life, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, what are you going to say? Now, for those of you who know me, you're not allowed to say 7, all right? That's another topic. But what would you score yourself out of 10? The reason I can't say 7 is because it doesn't really tell you anything. Are you less than 7? If you're less than 7, you're kind of frustrated. If you're more than 7 or sitting on 7, it's kind of okay. Where are you? And what does that tell you about your NPS score? And really what we should be doing is, if you're at a 5 or 6 now and you're kind of sitting on dissatisfaction, that's fine, right? That's fine. But you got to do something about it, right? Ideally, we should be living a 9 or 10 experience, at least most of the time. We should have lots of things in our life that we're excited about. We should have careers and activities that we do on a day-to-day basis that fulfill us. We should have relationships with people around us that inspire us and fill us with love. We should have things to look forward to either today or in the future that are going to expand our awareness and our horizon. So traveling or learning something new, we should have those kind of things in. We should have some form of adventure, so we're not doing the same things over and over again. This is all controllable, right? But instead of waking up and doing the same thing over and over again, we have to take a conscious look at what we're doing. We have to look in this mirror of honesty and be totally honest with ourselves. Is our life where we want it to be? And if we say no, then what are we going to do about it? And then we pick the area that is going to have the biggest impact, okay? And so let's think about some of the transformation areas. Could be fitness. Fitness is a key goal. I went through a fitness transformation. A lot of people out there who listen to this will be thinking, I need to fix my body, fix something to do with fitness or health. Some people, it's career or work or job or business or something along those lines, something that they can do that channels their passions and their skills on a day-to-day basis that allows them to do, make something of impact with the world. It could be a financial goal that's tied to business, but not entirely 100% aligned. Do you want to earn some more money? Do you want to save some more money? Are you looking to invest? What are you trying to do with finance? Are you trying to retire early? What are those goals? And really being super clear on what those are. Maybe it is a relationship goal. Maybe it's an adventure goal. Maybe you've got a creative passion project inside of you that's waiting to come out that you haven't acted on yet. Any of these areas are worth transforming. Okay, so look at your life right now. Look at this mirror of honesty. And many people will avoid the mirror of honesty because they don't want to look at it. It's kind of uncomfortable. And this is the point, right? This is the point. We need to get our uncomfort level up to a point where we dislike it, we're dissatisfied, and then realize that it's within our control to get to the other side. And the clearer we can define what that other side looks like, the better. So that's this first idea, right? And this ties into concepts of goal setting and visualization. If you read the book, there's a whole bunch of techniques in there as well. So expect more from your life, this expectation transformation. Don't be satisfied with an average life. We should push ourselves to experience more and do more with the talents and the skills that we have available. Okay, that's expectation. Let's talk now about mindset. So as I mentioned, the second that we set a goal, we say, right, we're here, I don't like it, and we want to be over here, it's better, but there's a gap. All right, so the person that you are today is not the person that is going to achieve that goal. We have to grow, we have to learn, we have to experience more. Maybe we need to get more skills. Maybe we need to practice longer. We need to put effort into it. Okay, whatever it is, there's going to be a gap, and that's okay. That's okay, but we've got to close that gap. And what many people will do is they'll look at that gap and they'll see it's so big and so like it's not even an external gap. They know they can do the work, but it's this internal gap. They feel fake. They feel fraud. I'm not that person. And they'll give up. Okay, and they'll say, oh, okay, it's not for me. It's not for me. And we've really got to close that gap. And we do that in a few different ways. Number one, I don't want you to remember this. This is a quote Muhammad Ali said, you know, he proclaimed to himself to be the greatest long before he even stepped in a boxing ring. Right? And so if it's good enough for Muhammad Ali, it's probably good enough for the rest of us. But it's to say that you are something that you're not is okay. Because who you are today is not a result of who you are today. It's a result of who you were yesterday. And all of the choices that you've made to bring you up to this person today. So your shell, who you see in the mirror today, is actually yesterday you. And who you see in the mirror tomorrow is going to be a result of the choices and the changes you make today. Okay, so understand that change is a process. Change is a process. And yes, it's going to feel weird at the beginning. Yeah, it's going to feel that you're doing things that are not natural, and they're not. Not for the old you, but they are natural for the new you. Okay, so get used to that. Get used to that mindset gap. Visualize it. Think of this new avatar and archetype of the person you want to become, and then embody that as much as you can throughout the day. There's a few things we can do to accelerate that. And I guess one of the big ones we talk about in the book is this idea of discipline. And discipline is doing the thing that you need to do, whether you feel like it or not. Okay, even if it's hard. And so discipline is about showing up. Let's say you've got this creative goal and you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm not an artist, or I'm not a writer, or I'm not this, whatever it is. Well, you're not in the past because you haven't done it. But an artist would show up and do the work, right? And anybody who's waiting for creative inspiration understands that that's not for the professional. The professional goes to work. Whether it's good or bad, they know that the process of creation is largely about putting stuff out, but then about editing. And so they'll go through that. They'll create something, they'll edit. They'll create something, they'll edit. And it's actually going through that develops the perfect product. It's not being perfect immediately. It's the iteration and improvement. And just showing up is half the battle. You know, anybody who's tried a fitness goal knows that you can't get fit by thinking about it sitting at home. You've got to put the clothes on, you've got to put the trainers on, you've got to step outside the door, you've got to go and do whatever exercise you're doing. You've got to show up. Okay, and so it's easy to think about it from a fitness perspective, but it may not be as easy from other concepts. You know, let's say you're trying to start a business. A business owner will go and make sales calls. Well, if this is your new business and you've never made a sales call before, it's going to feel pretty weird. Okay, does that mean you don't do it? Does that mean, no, it's not for me? No, it means go and do it. Show up. Do the thing that is aligned with the person you want to become, and gradually your body and your mind will go, okay, well, I guess this is us now. Yeah, so we show up and we fake it until we make it. That isn't a platitude. That isn't just a way of saying, oh, okay, fake it till you make it. It's not a nice thing. It's actually do the thing. Do the thing until it starts to feel natural, and it will. After a while, you develop skill, you develop aptitude at those things you want to do. Just keep showing up, keep putting in the work, whether you want to do it or not. Okay. And how often? Well, it doesn't matter. It could be, something that you start small, 5, 10, 15 minutes a day. Or it could be something that you say, right, I'm going to really invest in this, and I'm going to take 2 hours every evening, or I'm going to wake up early by an hour, and I'm going to dedicate that time to whatever it is I'm going to do. There's loads of books out there now about side hustles and how to start a small business until that skyrockets. and replaces your job. So you can do it. You can do it as a side element, or you can dive into it for 2 feet. I'm not saying quit your job today. That's completely the wrong thing, because it puts too much stress on the situation. But I am saying you should commit to your transformation as much as possible. Okay, so gradually over time, you're going to close this mental gap. And then the last one then is this idea of work rate transformation. And anything that is significant in life is going to take effort, right? It's going to take effort. And, there are get rich quick schemes. There are people out there teaching you how to do this thing. And, if you invest $1 in this, tomorrow it's going to be 100,000. It's not going to happen. I've looked for a lot of the shortcuts, and I'm sure there is some out there, or there's some lucky people riding waves, but largely stuff takes time. And a lot of the research says that if you're going to become world-class at anything, it takes 10,000 hours. That's 10 years. And so, the best time to achieve your goal or start on your goal was 10 years ago, right? That's kind of what the science says. The other best time is today. So really taking the time and saying, okay, well, I'm going to put this effort in, and finding ways to be more efficient with your time and the resources you've got, so you can invest more into it. If you've got only 5 minutes a day to contribute to a fitness goal, you're going to get 5 minutes worth of work as a reward, right? Which isn't probably very much. But then if you take a kind of a bit of an audit of how you're spending your time, and you look at, how much time you're wasting on the sofa and watching Netflix and kind of going through that, how much time do you waste in the morning not waking up effectively? They say, you need 8 hours sleep. Well, a lot of people don't need 8 hours sleep. You can probably get by on 6 or 7 hours sleep. And if you talk to Arnold Schwarzenegger in one of his motivational videos, he talks about sleeping faster, right? So, maybe you can find a way to get that down and find a couple of hours each and every day. And actually, to be fair, if you find 2 extra hours a day, that might not seem like much, but that's a quarter of a working day every single day. That's like finding an extra day and a half of work days every single week. That's crazy, right? Just by waking up a couple of hours early. So put in the work, show up. Find a way to sacrifice in certain areas. You can't have everything you want. You can't have the beach body and still have cake and kebab and burgers. You can't have those things. Those two things don't go together. So part of the work ethic is not just about saying, right, I'm going to do this. It's about saying, I'm not going to do these things. Not now, right? It's not about elimination. We're just saying that this is not the time and the place for something like this. And as a fitness competitor myself, there's a time for cake, there's a time for burgers, and there's a time for all of the fun things. But it's not immediately before a competition. Do you hear me? So we can periodize our effort. We can sacrifice, not eliminate from our life. We can make positive choices about how we're going to invest our resources. And resources could be time, energy, money, whatever it is. Maybe you can cut down on the daily coffees to free up a little bit of cash. You can invest into something that's going to accelerate progress towards your goals. Okay, you can work smart. You can find a way to leverage things as well. You can, bring on other people. You can outsource some of the work. There's all sorts of ways that you can add leverage to your time and your money, but you need to understand where you're going to channel that first. So work hard, work even harder, then work smarter. And then the last thing really in that kind of work hard element is persistence, is taking the time. And I already mentioned the 10,000 hours. How long is it going to take for you to change your situation and achieve those goals? Nobody knows, right? Nobody knows. Nobody knows from where you're starting or where you want to get to, right? And that gap will determine some of that element. Some people can do it faster. Some people can do it slower. How long is it going to take you? Doesn't matter. You just got to keep showing up, because at the beginning you said, I'm not satisfied. And you made that decision to change. You said, right, I'm going to get all the way no matter what. So you just keep persisting, keep showing up. You keep the discipline. You stay focused. You put the grind in. You're sacrificing in the right areas to free up time, money, and energy and resource for investing into your goals. Ultimately, at some point, it's going to happen. And that gap's going to get closer and closer and closer all the time until one day you wake up and you're like, okay, I made it. And that's going to be a Wednesday. It's going to be a random Wednesday where you realize, okay, I'm now that person I wanted to be so long ago. And in the book, we talk about a kind of 3-month goal, setting yourself up a 3-month transformation challenge. Really, you can do so much in 3 months. If you put energy, intensity, focus, passion, all of those things, in 3 months, you can do a lot. You can write a book, you can create a business, you can find a new relationship or find the relationship that you want. You can travel the world. You can do so many things in 3 months that many people think, okay, well, I'm just going to take my time. And actually, if you're dissatisfied, It's kind of like, when the TV ads come on, you're sitting on the sofa, but if you still watch television with adverts, is when the adverts come on, you're like, oh man, where's the remote? And you scamper around the place trying to find this remote. Well, that's just to change the adverts, right? Now, imagine the amount of energy you put into changing the TV channel so you don't have to watch adverts. Now imagine taking the appropriate and kind of that same level of concept and applying it to a dissatisfied life. You throw in so much energy, you throw in so much time if you had the opportunity to change your life for the better. Well, you do. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking, right, I've got potential that I'm not living up to, or there's something that I really want to try, but I've been putting it off for whatever reason, right? Or I know that I could do more and I'm not, living a life that I'm happy with, or I wake up every day and I'm bored and I'm frustrated and I don't want to be doing this anymore, but I don't know what to do. These are all keys that you should be thinking, I need to change something, right? And whether you change something superficial, like going out and buying a new coat or something along those lines so you feel a bit better and you take the pressure off for a minute, or whether you look in the mirror of honesty and say, okay, well, I probably need to make a significant change and this is the area that I need to change, then you need to do something about it. Okay, so this is personal transformation. You are in control of the results you're able to generate. Don't wait for somebody to come and save you. Take action and really improve your situation, put the effort in, and show up and do that work. Okay, so that's the personal transformation blueprint. This is the personal transformation podcast. So the future episodes, we're going to be diving into more of these concepts. We're going to be looking into these things. As I mentioned, some of them are going to be fairly short. I've gone over 20 minutes here a little bit, but we're going to try and keep them 15 minutes because I really want you to condition your brain and your mind to think success and to think change and to think progression. Okay, so we'll keep some of them short. There'll be some longer form ones as well where we really dive into some of the concepts. But I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope this is inspired and stimulated and tickled something inside you that says, okay, I need to do something. I'm not sure what it is yet, but I know it's going to come about soon. So I'll see you on the next episode. Welcome to the Personal Transformation Podcast.